the LGU ay kailangan pumayag. I'll go back to that, why that's important now in this discussion. So pati po sabungan, nakumbinsin namin mga kababayan namin, wala kaming sabungan. Bingo, hindi na rin namin binigyan ng lisensya. This is part kasi of teaching young people to work hard and have the right values, and that every single peso that God gives them is to be managed well. So at that point, I just want to honor and recognize a fighter against gambling, former CBCP President and the Archbishop Oscar Cruz. No? Sinabi niya to, many attempts are being made to legalize all forms of gambling, even as casinos and lotto are now legal. But again, for us pastors, given the lure of gambling to the Filipino psyche, the legalization of organized gambling in order to raise funds, even for development, is a form of demoralization. When the rich gamble, this does not make gambling right. When the poor gamble, neither does this make gambling wrong. Gambling is wrong. To gamble one's money is wrong. To covet money through gambling is wrong. To launder gambling revenues by applying them to social projects is wrong. So Mr. Chairman, the point po dito kasi hanggang ngayon po nakumbinsin na namin po most kapag ka may patay, wag nang pumayag na may sakla, may terembe, may monte, or kung ano man yung mga hilig na sugal before kasi nandyan na DSWG, nandyan na yung local government na tumutulong sa panglibing. So kahit yung Cara Cruz po yung barya na Cara Cruz, hinuhuli ng pulis sa amin sa city namin. But the irony is, makikita ng mga bata yung Cara Cruz hinuhuli, pero yung illegal na isabong at kahit anong gaming pwede. The other irony is, casinos, sabungans, even lotto, may regulation how far from churches and schools. But actually, nag-CR lang yung isang estudyante, pwede siyang gumagamit, Mr. Chair, ng cellphone. So I'll end there, but the appeal is for us to come up with the right conclusion here, because we're spending almost 1 trillion pesos on education. Yet, what we're teaching our people is that gambling, gaming, and addiction is okay kasi malaki naman ang kita. So let me end there and thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Cayetano. Now we'll give the floor to Senator Joel Villanueva, our majority leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mapagpalang umaga po sa atin lahat, dear colleagues, Mr. Chairman. Bilang may akda po ng Senate Bill number 47 o Anti-Online Gambling Act, nais po nating magpasalamat sa ating chairperson, Senator Erwin Tulfo, sa kanyang mabilisang aksyon sa pagsasagawa ng pagdinig na ito tungkol sa lumalalang krisis sa online gambling. Yes, Mr. Chairman, dear colleagues and resource persons, online gambling is now a growing national crisis. That is why it behooves us to address this once and for all. And as this is more than just a game of chance, online gambling is a growing menace that threatens the very fabric of our society. Every day, people are not just risking their hard-earned money. They are putting their futures, families, and lives on the line. The lure of instant wealth has already led many down a path of addiction, death, and despair. We have seen too many cases, Mr. Chairman, where gambling deaths have resulted in broken families, suicides, disappearances, and even crimes such as fraud, money laundering, human trafficking, and worse. Isa pong halimbawa, Mr. Chairman, yung sumulat po sa amin dito sa ating opisina, isang ginang nalulong at matapos yung kanyang paggastos ng milyong-milyong piso, binenta na niya yung kanyang bahay at iba pang ari-arian, nag-max out na rin yung kanyang credit cards dahil sa kanyang pagkakalulong sa online gambling. Doon po sa isang lugar, isang 19 dito sa Pilipinas, sa Mindanao, 19 years old po estudyante, umabot sa mahigit kalahating milyong piso. Yung pong hindi niya mabayarang utang sa pagsusugal. Mag-aaral po siya. Meron pong isang pulis doon po sa amin sa Bulacan, sa San Miguel, Bulacan. Hinold up po yung LBC at nung in-interview po siya, ito'y dulot ng patong-patong na kanyang utang bunsod ng online gambling. Mr. Chairman, the data speaks for itself, my dear colleagues. A 2023 survey conducted by research firm Capstone Intel revealed that 66% of young Filipinos aged 18 to 40 are involved in online gambling. Even middle-aged adults are involved. They were not spared. 57% of respondents aged 41 to 55 engaged in various online gambling activities. Nearly a third of users bet 2 to 3 times a week. And Mr. Chairman, some wagering up to 3,000 pesos per session. Even worse, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, our digital age has made gambling more accessible than ever. We now live an era where anyone with a smartphone effectively has a casino in their pocket, open 24/7. No dress code, no travel, just one click. These platforms are powered by sophisticated technology and aggressive marketing strategies designed not just to attract users, Mr. Chairman, but to keep them gambling longer and coming back more often. What's deeply troubling is that many of these platforms use psychological triggers. I want to emphasize this, Mr. Chairman. May psychological triggers na ginagamit. Manipulative design elements intended to encourage impulsive and compulsive behavior. Add to that, the integration of gambling platforms into widely used mobile apps has made it nearly impossible, Mr. Chairman, nearly impossible for families to shield their loved ones from this threat. And that's why this hearing is very important. Despite all these red flags, Mr. Chairman, we see gambling advertisements being pushed to our youth through social media, streaming platforms, and even influencer content, Mr. Chairman. Please, let me put emphasis on this. Even minors are exposed to these dangerous platforms, putting our youth at risk or early addiction and lost opportunities. May mga kabataan po na hindi pa nga ho po pwedeng bumoto, pero araw-araw exposed na sa sugal. We must ask ourselves, how did we allow this to happen? And let us be clear, online gambling is not just a matter of financial loss. It's strongly associated with serious mental and physical health issues, broken relationships, family conflict, increased cases of domestic violence and suicide, crime against persons and property, and ultimately, the erosion of opportunities and dignity in the lives of many Filipinos. Sa madali pong salita, Mr. Chairman, sa sugal po ay hindi lang salapi ang itinataya, pati kinabukasan ng pamilyang Pilipino. Kaya ngayong araw na ito, gusto po natin malaman, Mr. Chair, anong mga hakbang ba ang ginagawa ng pamahalaan para mapuksa ang lumalalang krisis dulot ng online gambling? Binan natin yung Pogo, nag-shine naman tong online gambling at binanggit nyo kanina, Mr. Chairman, this time around, Pilipino na ang talagang target, hindi lang mga banyaga. Paano minomonitor ng PAGCOR ang mga licenses nito para masigurong walang mga irregularidad na nakakalusot? Ano po bang mga polisiya ang dapat ipinapatupad ng mga e-wallet apps para hindi basta-basta nagkakaroon ng access ang mga kabataan sa gambling sites sa pamamagitan po ng kanilang apps? And I'm glad that Senator Alan is here being chairperson of the Committee on Banks dahil gusto natin maintindihan ano bang ginagawa nila. May mga e-wallets, may mga e-banks na rin, Mr. Chairman. Ilan lamang po ito sa nais nating matugunan ngayong araw na ito. And last but not the least, Mr. Chairman, ang tagal ko na hong legislator, 2 dekada mahigit na. Hanggang ngayon, gulong-gulo pa rin ako sa polisiya ng ating estado tungkol sa gambling, tungkol sa pagsusugal. Lahat illegal, pero pag dumating sa Kongreso, binigyan ng imprimatur, nagiging legal. Anong klaseng polisiya talaga yon? So hanggang ngayon ho, litong ho ako doon at sana mabigyan ng linaw, ano talaga yung nais nating tahakin. Mag-raise lang ba ng funds? Kung magre-raise lang tayo ng funds, edi pasukin na rin natin illegal drugs tsaka kidnapping. Mas mabilis mag-raise ng funds kung yun ang gusto natin. Pero ito araw-araw po, as we speak right now, may tumataya ngayon. As we speak right now, merong kinabukasan na masisira pag hindi po tayo umaksyon. Kaya again, Mr. Chairman, maraming salamat sa iyo at sa ating mga kasama dito sa Senado. Magandang umaga po ulit.
Maraming salamat, Senator Joel Villanueva. Bago po natin puntahan ang susunod pong magbibigay ng opening statement na senador, we'd just like to put on record that Senator Bongo also filed Senate Bill number 686 prohibiting online gambling. Take note, Committee Secretary. Now we proceed to Senator Risa Ontiveros to give her opening remarks.
Salamat po Mr. Chair at magandang umaga po Chair Erwin at yung ibang mga chairs na nandirito, lahat po ng mga kasama sa ating pagdinig. Mr. Chair, ilang linggo na po natin pinag-uusapan ang online gambling at ang masamang epekto nito sa ating lipunan. At hindi po ito iisa o dalawang kwento lamang. Libo-libong mga pamilya ang sinisira na ng online sugal dahil sa shortcut na ibinibigay ng internet, e-wallets at mga super apps. Sa kontra e-sugal bill na inihain ko, malinaw ang isa sa pinakamahalagang probisyon. Bawal ang direktang paglink ng e-wallets at super apps sa online gambling platforms. Hindi naman ito food delivery o online shopping. Ngunit dahil masyado nitong pinadali ang pagsusugal, umabot na tayo sa puntong nagpapakamatay kahit pa mga bata dahil sa bigat ng loob at pagkabaon sa utang. Habang wala pa rito para magpaliwanag ang mga representante ng e-wallets at super apps, ibabaling ko muna Mr. Chair ang aking atensyon sa mga ahensya ng gobyerno, lalo na sa ating mga regulatory agencies na PAGCOR at Bangko Sentral, na may malalaking papel sa pagpapalawak ng walang awang bisyo na ito. Inaasahan kong mabibigyan din nila ng linaw kung sino nga ba talaga ang dapat namumulis sa mga online sugal na nakalink sa e-wallets at super apps. Kaya nga kailangan natin ng batas para masiguradong coordinated at whole of government ang tugon sa online sugal para hindi na magkanya-kanya ang bawat ahensya. Dahil sa e-wallets at super apps, naging portable tuloy ang pagkakasino dahil sa mga kasalukuyang regulasyon, anli sugal, walang bantay at wala ring awa. Isang pindot lang, mauubos na ang kinita mo sa buong buwan o nababaon ka pa sa utang. It is clear we need strong, active limitations and controls enacted into law. Ayon naman sa online gambling operators, nagsusulong sila ng responsible gaming, di umano. Keso may age limit daw, keso may minimum bet, habang nilelecturan ang mga Pilipino kung gaano raw kalaki ang ambag ng sugal sa kaban ng bayan. Nagsisimula na rin daw tugunan ng government agencies ang mabilis na pagkalat ng e-sugal. But we cannot rely on mere administrative policies, Mr. Chair, policies that may change with the winds of public opinion. Kailangan po natin ng komprehensibong batas na tutugon sa lahat ng aspeto ng komplikadong issue na ito. Mga kasama, sana ay huwag nating gawing tanging sukatan ang benta, ang kita dito sa online sugal kung ang kapalit naman ay lalasunin pala ang pamilyang Pilipino. Hindi dapat ninenegosyo ang paninira ng buhay. Kakabit niyan, dapat tratuhin na ring public health issue ang matinding adiksyong ito sa online sugal. Ayon sa DSM-5, gambling disorder is a mental health issue. This means government must also impose on these gambling platforms an enhanced duty of care for our kababayan who are struggling with addiction. Tulungan natin silang makawala sa pagkakulong sa online sugal. Salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Risa Ontiveros. Now we go to Senator Mig Zubiri for his opening remarks.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to thank our chair, Chairman Erwin Tulfo, for very actively and urgently pushing for anti-online gambling measures. This is a big fight for an incumbent senator, and I trust that you'll be a strong champion against this social growing menace. Kaya maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. When I delivered my privileged speech earlier this month, I relayed a few individual stories of online gambling addiction and criminality to humanize the very real and pressing problems that we are facing because of online gambling. Today, we'll hear directly from some of these online gambling victims themselves. Their voices will remind us that online gambling is not just a policy issue. It is a crisis that destroys families, livelihood, and futures. We hope that their first-hand accounts will emphasize the urgency of eliminating online gambling once and for all. We have with us a family from Bukidnon who lost their son to suicide after he incurred an online gambling debt that he could not pay. He is one of among many Filipinos pushed to tragic and desperate ends because of online gambling. Just this month, again in Bukidnon, there was a police corporal who robbed a convenience store at gunpoint, reportedly for his online gambling. He stole 12,000 from the register before he was arrested. La Trinidad, a 22-year-old boy, was reported to have committed suicide due to online gambling debts. In Banbantayan, Cebu, a man was reported to have murdered 3 people due to an argument over online gambling winnings. And in Cebu City, an 18-year-old was arrested for killing a 45-year-old, also after arguing about online gambling winnings. I would dare to say, my dear friends, colleagues, and the Filipino people, it is possible that more people have died and criminality has increased due to online gambling more than pogos. That is blood in your hands to the operators and regulators. These stories reveal the ugly truth of online gambling. It is not at all just fun and games, as colorful advertisements would like us to believe. But I want to draw back from these personal stories for a moment so we can look at the bigger picture on online gambling. How large is the industry and how many people have fallen victim to it? Last time I talked about the shameful status that we hold now as the gambling capital of Asia, with 79 casinos surpassing Cambodia with 48, Macau with 47, Vietnam with 40, and South Korea 32. Number 1 tayo sa sugalan. Nakakahiya at nakakadismaya. At brick and mortar casinos pa lang po ito. With online gambling, baka lampas na tayo sa number 1. Online gambling is growing at an astronomical pace here in the Philippines. We just have to look at the gross gaming revenues for online gambling to see how fast the industry has grown in such a short amount of time. These gross gaming revenues, or GGR to explain, is the gambling industry's metric that reflects bets minus winnings. It is in 2022 that we'd start seeing huge jumps in online gambling gross gaming revenues. The industry made a big leap from 8 billion during the pandemic or before the pandemic to more than double the year before. And in 2023, online gambling raked 33.16 billion, marking a whooping 414% growth in 2022. Last year was even a better year for the industry. Online gambling was making a gross gaming revenue of 131.7 billion. And for the first half of this year alone, online gambling has already made 106.53 billion in gross gaming revenues. Without a ban in sight, we can well expect this figure to blow up for another banner year for the online gaming industry. Mr. Chair, to illustrate, from 2020 to 2024, the industry grew by 5,564%. Unbelievable. And yet it is real. And yes, they can say that this is good news because bigger gross gaming revenue is bigger taxes, bigger contributions to national development. But that is a generous view of a dire situation because the truth is that massive revenue is from the pockets galing sa bulsa ng ating masang Pilipino, hardworking middle-class Filipinos, not foreigners, not rich people, just working class, regular working class people. Sa mga casinos, mga high-income rollers pa po yan. Pero sa online gambling, mga wage earners po ang nabibiktima. Mga jeepney drivers, mga tindero at tindera, mga stay-away home nanay, pati mga estudyante. At pati na yun, ang mga OFW galit na po dahil ang pinapadala nila nauubos sa online gambling. How do we explain the extraordinary growth of online gambling industry? The biggest culprit, Mr. Chairman, is the accessibility and ease of transactions. Napakaganda talaga ng integration ng digital wallets at mga online gambling sites. Napakadaling tumaya at mag-withdraw, mag-top up at tumaya muli. Kasi ilang click lang yan online, tapos na. Hindi mo na kailangan lumabas ng bahay. Napakabilis ng transaction, napaka-convenient maglaro, mag-scatter. GCash alone has a user base of 94 million people. That is 81% of our entire population. And of that 94 million, over 3 million users have availed of G-loans, G-gives, G-credit services. If you have GCash, Mr. Chair, or PayMaya, you might know that the whole section is dedicated to leisure and enjoyment. And under this umbrella, you will find a link that is labeled games. Click on this and it will lead you out of GCash app and straight to the page of hardcore licensed online gambling operators. All this can now be used by using your GCash account. And if you lose and run out of money, all these e-wallets from GCash to PayMaya, walang problema. You can apply for GCash loans and loans in other e-wallets. Walang problema, tuloy ang saya. Mr. President and Mr. Chairman, Capistrano Intel Corporation ran a survey on online betting. They found that 64% of respondents are engaged in online gambling. No doubt the number of online gamblers in 2025 has gone higher. According to Bridges of Hope, a rehabilitation center, which is represented here by John T., with 15 facilities across the country, 7 out of 10 clients that they treat now are for online gambling addiction. Hindi na po substance abuse, gambling addiction na po. Another support group, Recovering Gamblers of the Philippines, also has seen more online gamblers come in for help. And in just 2 years, the composition of recovering clients changed from 60% online gamblers and 40% online casino gamblers rather, to 90% online gamblers and 10% casino gamblers. And according to the World Health Organization, every high-risk gambler affects an average of 6 people. Pamilya po nila yan at mga kasama sa trabaho. A chain effect of lives destroyed by online gambling. Mga kaibigang inutangan ng mga magulang ninakawan, mga anak na napabayaan. These numbers are only going to get worse and longer if we allow online gambling to go on. We need the political will to stop this. Even our neighbors, Mr. Chairman, Indonesia has already cracked down on online gambling. This month alone, they froze 26,000 bank accounts used for online gambling activities. Their social minister even warned that many of their beneficiaries of their own Ayuda program has already used the funds for online gambling wagers and revoked assistance to these individuals dahil ginagamit ngayong Ayuda para sa online gambling. Like us, Indonesia sees that online gambling is targeting low-income communities. They saw the problem and they're now taking a hardline measure against it. Tayo po kaya, Mr. Chair, kikilos ba rin tayo o hintayin na lang natin na lalong malulong ang ating mga kababayan, ang mga pamilya mawawasak, kinabukasan po nila ay mawawala na po dahil sa online gambling sa Pilipinas. So I'm hopeful, Mr. Chairman, that this hearing will enlighten us on just how deep the problem runs and how we can find a way out of this. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat, Senator Migs. For the record, Senator Zubiri, we will be inviting GCash and other e-wallets companies next hearing. We now go to Senator Pia Cayetano for her opening statement.
Good morning, everyone. Today's hearing is important because it gives us a general overview on online gambling. Do we ban or do we regulate? This is the question before us. We have bills to outrightly ban and bills to regulate. What facts do we have on hand? Just 4 days ago, it was reported that a 22-year-old in Benguet committed suicide over online gambling debts. This is not an isolated case. There are other reported cases of individuals who have taken their lives because they were buried in debt. And there are also reports that online gambling is linked to money laundering, cybercrimes, and other illicit activities. There are also numerous reports of families being affected by online gambling. There are rising cases of gambling addiction and mental health issues, particularly among the youth and vulnerable population. In 2023, a nationwide survey revealed that 66% of Filipino aged 18 to 24 engage in online gambling, with frequent betting behavior leading to academic neglect, financial distress, and psychological strain. Tanong ko po sa lahat ng gagawa ng desisyon, sa lahat ng magsasalita, yung problemang bang ganon na 66% of Filipino age 18 to 24 engage in online gambling, did it exist 5 years ago? Did it exist 10 years ago? Meron bang ganon? 10 years ago, na addicted itong mga batang ito, 18 years old, imbis na nag-aaral, imbis na nagsusports, imbis na nagde-develop ng social skills, online gambling ang inaatupag. The DOF position is not to ban online gambling, but to impose stricter measures and impose higher tax rates on online gambling. Well, madali na maintindihin yun kasi kung trabaho mo, palaki ng income ng gobyerno, yan ang focus mo. So may data tayo to show that in 2020, ang gross gaming revenue was 12.91 billion. In 2021, 16 billion. In 2022, 30 billion, halos dumoble. In 2023, halos dumoble ulit, 58 billion. And in 2024, halos triple, mga 2.5 well, less than triple, but mga 154 billion. So from 58 billion to 154 billion in 2024. And kalahati pa lang ng 2025, 114 na. So kung wala tayong gagawin, siguro aabot na talaga to ng 200 billion. So yan ang income na nakukuha natin sa gambling. Is it worth it? Yan ho ang tanong natin. The position of those who are pro-gambling, just like government, is let's regulate. Regulate lang natin yan. Kayang-kaya natin yan. They argue that the gambling business will just go underground. But do we even consider that with technology, hindi nga ma-regulate ng maayos? We cannot even keep up. So anong i-regulate natin? Hindi naman tayo mabilis mag-regulate. Hindi naman tayo mabilis sa technology. In fact, research from a Filipino sociocultural firm revealed that nung naban ang isabong, nawala. Pero kahit papaano may illegal platforms, pero nabawasan pa rin. Nabawasan pa rin. And if we have the political will, ang US naban niya yung TikTok, bumalik lang dahil bumalik din si Trump. Ang daming opportunity na magban kung gugustuhin. How many young people will lose their way? How many families do we sacrifice? How many lives are worth the extra revenue to government? It is my hope that during this hearing, all relevant facts will be revealed, including the cost to every family who loses a breadwinner. Every family who does not have food to eat because nagastos na sa sugal, sa online gambling na napakadali. Every family who won't watch a child graduate dahil this child has lost their way because of gambling addiction. What is the cost to society? My final point. Inasmuch as my bill is on a ban on online gambling, I'll be listening intently to all the resource persons. As chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means, it is my hope that there will not be a need for me to call a hearing on taxation of online gambling operations because we will be banning outright. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Pia Cayetano. Next to give his remark is Senator Rafi Tulfo.
Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. I've been pushing for the total ban in all forms of online gambling. But recently, the government and some quarters ay pumalag, nag-react, especially the PCOO. And they were saying na maghina-hina lang daw. And nagbigay sila ng dahilan kung bakit wag muna i-stop ang online gambling. Isa sa mga binigay nila ng reason ay malaki raw kinikita sa buwis. In fact, nagbanggit pa sila ng mga figures. The DOF gave an estimate, Presidential Communication Office. Nagbigay pa sila ng mga estimates kung how much yung direct and indirect benefits and even economic benefits nakukuha ng online gambling. However, hindi binabanggit ng Department of Finance yung social cost, yung social harm. Nabanggit nga kanina ni Senator Mig Zubiri. Nagbigay siya ng mga figures, mga estimates. Pero yung DOF, hindi. Yung psychological harm of gambling addiction, health effects, household impact, criminal offenses related to online gamblings. Nandito ating PNP para magbigay ng data tungkol dyan. Hindi pwedeng gamitin ang dahilan na dahil kumikita tayo sa online gambling sa pamagitan ng buwis. Dapat timbangin din natin, isipin din natin yung social cost, yung social harm na dinudulot sa mga mananaya. At sino po itong mga mananayang ito? Mga masang Pilipino. Hindi naman po ito yung mga mayayaman na tumataya. Ang masaklap pa, yung mga mananaya, dinadaya pa. Marami na akong complainant na nanalo ng daan-daang milyon at hindi naman binabayaran. So, ayan yan ang example. Nasisira na ngayong buhay nila sa katataya, nalulubog na sa utang sa katataya at nung maka-jackpot, manalo, hindi binayaran. Lokohan. Di po ba? Kalokohan. Pangalawang binibigay na dahilan ng ating pamalaan ay yung magigirilya sila, mag-underground. Pag binawal mo yan, mag-underground. I-regulate na lang. Kung mag-underground, anong ginagawa ng DICT? Ba't hindi magbuo ng isang special task force na kasama yung PNP Anti-Cybercrime, NBI, para tugisin ito magigirilya? So, tinatanggap ba natin na inutil yung DICT? Siguro naman, DICT hindi papayag. Hindi tatanggapin na kami po ay inutil. Kaya, wag na lang po natin itigil yan kasi mag-underground sila, ma-overwhelm kami. Umiling na si Asik Paraiso. Tama po, sir. Diba? So, you can do your job. Do your job. Huwag kayo matakot sa mag-underground guerrilla na yan. Isa pa sa binigay na dahilan ng ating gobyerno ay yung employment daw. Of course, ako po ay pro-labor, being vice chair ng labor employment. Pro-labor po ako. Yeah, I know na 32,000 ata yung figures na binigyan nating gobyerno na nagkikinabang sa online gambling. Pero meron man talaga tayong paraan na para itong mga mawalan trabaho sa online gambling, maita-transfer natin sa ibang mga trabaho. Kung gusto, maraming dahilan, maraming paraan. Kung ayaw, maraming dahilan. Yung DOLE, pwede na mag-open ng mga job fairs. Nandiyan yung ating tourism na pwede natin i-boost para yung hospitality industry natin lumakas. In fact, pagdating sa tourism, sayang hindi natin nagagamit yung magagandang mga tourism site natin na alpasan na tayo na may ibang bansa tulad ng Vietnam, Malaysia. Nandiyan naman yung BPO na pwede natin paglagyan sa mga madi-displace, mga workers na online gambling. Nandiyan yung mga direct investments na pagagandahin natin siyempre ating peace and order para pumasok yung mga direct investors. Marami mga complainants na pumunta sa aking programa na mga magulang, yung kanilang mga estudyante, hindi na po nakapag-aral, napupuyat, hindi na pumapasok, pumapayat na, hindi na kumakain dahil lulumpo sa online gambling. Kumukupit at an early age, mga bata, estudyante, 10, 11, 12, kumukupit sa kanilang mga magulang. Bata pa lang, marunong na makumupit, marunong magnakaw. Just imagine, paglaki ng mga ito, magiging hardened criminals na mga ito dahil at an early age, na-expose sila sa criminal activities, criminal acts, yung pagnanakaw sa mga magulang. Yung iba, nag-i-snatch para lamang may pantaya sa online gambling. Even yung mga matatanda, meron pa nagdi-dispalco, merong isang employee nagdispalco sa kanyang employer. And that happens several times sa kanilang mga employers para lamang may pantaya sa online gambling. Yung mga husband na dapat binigyan ng pangpuhunan sa negosyo para gumanda ang buhay nila, mga OFWs, na nagagastos lang sa online gambling. Pag uwi ng mga OFWs, because ako po bilang committee chair ng migrant workers, yun po isa sa mga reklamo din ng mga OFWs. Pag uwi nila ng Pilipinas after a 1 year or 2 years contract, 2-year contract nila doon, fulfill nila sa Middle East, pinaghirapan nila, pinagpawisan sila, after na sila ay maapi doon, maabuso, maglinis ng mga kubeta para kumita ng 20,000 to 30,000 a month. Pagbalik nila, wala na silang abutin na pera. Why? Kasi nga po, yung kanilang mga asawa at mga anak nalulumpo sa online gambling. Di po ba? Isa pa po, sa sinasabi ng ating gobyerno at ng iba, strict regulation. Anong klaseng strict regulation? Ayan. Tuwing meron tayong mga problemas, vices, i-regulate na lang yan. Pero palagi natin sinasabing strict regulation, wala rin nangyayari. And lastly, it's about time na pakinggan natin ang mga mamamayang Pilipino, especially po yung mga misis, yung mga ginang ng tahanan, dahil sila po ang nag-handle ng budget ng kanilang pamilya na napupunta lang po sa online gambling dahil sinusugal na kanilang mga anak at mga asawa. It's about time na makinig po tayo sa hinaing, sa tinig ng mga mamamayang Pilipino na nagsasabing no to online gambling. Walang exception. No to online gambling. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat, Senator Raffy Tulfo. Next will deliver his opening statement, Senator Rodante Marcoleta.
Salamat po, Mr. Chair. Ako po ay miyembro ng Iglesia ni Cristo, kaya kapag ako po ay nagsugal, matitiwalag po ako. Kaya alam na po ninyo kung anong posisyon ko dito. Kaya lang, bago po natin gawin ang dapat gawin, gusto ko malaman kung gaano tayo kahanda. Halimbawa, total ban. Noong total ban ang ating napag-usapan. Gaano tayo kaseryoso? Kasi po, kunwari, yung online gambling platforms, naisara nating lahat. Eh, paano yung wetting? Ako po, grade 1 pa lang ako, may wetting na sa amin. Hanggang ngayon, nandun pa rin po. So, nagsasara tayo, pero bukas tayo sa iba. So, baka mamaya sabihin ng tao, hindi naman totoo yung pinagsasabi ng mga senador na ito. Gusto ko po, seryosohan. Gaano po tayo kaseryoso na gawin natin lahat to? Kasi po, tingnan ninyo, sa public administration, meron po tayong mga key principles in public policy. Ang nakaakma pong key principle in public policy sa ganitong klaseng suliranin, yung pong tinatawag nilang Pareto efficiency. Minsan tinatawag pa rin itong Pareto optimality. Ano po ibig sabihin nun? It describes a situation where a state is supposed to allocate resources in a way that makes it impossible to make one very happy, but also making the other very, very sad. Tingnan po ninyo, in accordance with the charter and the governing board of the PAGCOR, yung earnings are distributed as follows. 5% of winning goes to BIR as franchise tax. 50% of the 90% balance goes to the National Treasury as national government mandated income share. Cities hosting PAGCOR casinos are given fixed amount for their respective community projects. Ito po yung pang corporate income tax. 5% of the balance after the franchise tax and national government mandated income share goes to the Philippine Sports Commission for the country sports development programs. 1% of net income goes to the Board of Claims. Dangerous Drugs Board, 5 million a month. It provides funds for the implementation of comprehensive dangerous drugs, for the establishment, maintenance, operation of drug rehabilitation centers, and the Sports Incentives and Benefits Act. PAGCOR is also in coordination with the Department of Energy, ay ini-implement po nila yung RA 9153 or the Renewable Energy Act of 2008. Batas mo yata ito, Senator Zubiri. O a funding which will be sourced from 15% of PAGCOR's annual net income. Remaining balance of PAGCOR's income is remitted to the social fund to sustain the priority projects of the Office of the President. 50% of the national government share from PAGCOR's gaming income shall be transferred to PhilHealth to fund the Universal Healthcare Center. O paano po ngayon yan? Napakaraming tatamaan ngayon. Paano natin sasagutin ngayon ng biglaan sa ating mga kababayan to? Nang hindi tayo pagsususpetsahan na Oh, gagaling-galingan ng mga senador na ito pero baka wala ring magawa. Gusto nating iban talaga. Ako po, number one, gusto ko ring iban yan. But let's face it, bakit po naging salot ito, sabi ng ating chairman? Gaano kalaki yung salot? Bakit lumaki yung salot? Anong ginagawa ng PAGCOR? Ang PAGCOR po, sa aking pagkakaalam, kayo po ang may mandato nito, Presidential Decree 1869 as amended by PD 1993, Executive Order 260, at saka RA 9487. Whereas, sabi po niya rito, let me read this, Mr. Chair. PAGCOR's operation has enabled the government to identify the potential sources of additional revenue, provided games of chance are strictly managed and made subject to close scrutiny, regulation, supervision, and control of the government. Bakit nagkaroon ng breakdown ng control, ng supervision, ng scrutiny? Bakit sangayon ngayon sa mga nagsipagsalita ng mga kasama ko ay lumala ng lumala and we're facing a social ogre siguro. Ano po ang ginagawa ng DICT, for example? Kayo po ay magbabantay din dito. So ito po lahat pag-usapan muna natin. Sino-sino po ba ang may-ari ng mga online game platforms? Siguro po kailangan isubmit sa atin ng PAGCOR sino po yung malalaki talaga. Halimbawa po, sino ang may-ari ng AB Leisure Exponent Inc.? Sino yung may-ari ng Gabin Ventures Inc., GVI? Sino yung may-ari ng Playmate Leisure Solutions Corporation? Sino may-ari ng PhilWeb Corporation? 4 lang po yung babanggitin ko. I was informed that these 4 online gaming operators corner more than 80% of the entire market for this gambling operation. Sino po itong mga lalaki? Kilala ko po lahat ito, kaya lang gusto ko marinig sa PAGCOR. Isasubmit nyo po ba sa komite kung sino-sino ang may-ari ng mga gaming platforms na ito? Mr. PAGCOR, can you make a commitment na isubmit po ninyo?
Your Honor, we will submit the list and the beneficial owners of all the companies that not only you have mentioned but lahat na po yung kulang 70 lang po kasi yung may lisensya.
Meron
So-
pong purely online lang, merong physical casino at meron ding online casino.
Opo, Your Honor, amin pong isusumite ang 2 uri ng pagmamayari na inyong tinatanong. Una po, yung sa land-based casinos, yun po yung tinatawag ng mga integrated resorts. So kung saan yun po ay may mga iba't ibang pag-aari din. Ngayon meron din po yung mga land-based casinos na yon na integrated resorts. Sila po ay meron ding online gaming na negosyo na kalaki sa kanilang lisensya. At bukod po doon po sa online gaming companies, isusumiti po namin sa committee yung pong pangalan, una yung pangalan nung may lisensya, pangalan ng lisensya, at pangalawa po ay kung sino po ang mga beneficial owners nito. 70, kulang 70 po lahat, Your Honor. Isusumiti po namin lahat yon sa committee.
Ang siguro po, Mr. Chair, ang kailangan natin para mas maging malinaw, sino yung official owner, sino yung beneficial owner, sino yung gaming system administrator, ano yung mga games. Katulad po ng halimbawa, itong AB Leisure Exponent Inc. Yung mga games niya po, ito yung DG Plus, Arena Plus, Bingo Plus. Ito po yata yung nag-sponsor nung isang concert. Ngayon lang, pati po ako ay kanyang idinawit. Nagpapatawa po siya. Nakita niya yung dating Senador Grace po na nagtatawa. Natawa po at siguro naging successful siya. Napatawa niya si Senador Grace po. Bigla ba niya naman sinabi, tingnan niyo yung mukha ni Marcoleta kung matatawa kayo. Napakawalang hiya nung tao na yun, Mr. Chair. Ayaw ko na pong patuksin siya. Ang nag-sponsor po yung DG Plus. Kaya po lumalaki po eh. Gumagamit po sila ng mga ganong klaseng mga sikat na mga tao. So, alam ko po malaking pag-uusap ito, Mr. Chair. At alam ko, I think the PAGCOR and the DICT will be struggling to reinvent themselves kung paano ma-address ito. Halimbawa, mapag-usapan natin total ban. Paano kaya ang gagawin nila? Sa ngayon pa lang, Mr. Chair, I would suggest, kung nandito po yung representative ng BSP, na silang nagre-regulate po ng mga e-wallets. I believe, Mr. Chair, the BSP should issue a suspension order to e-wallet platforms to deny links to all these online game platforms para wala na pong wala nang pag-uusapan. Can the BSP do that?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Your Honor. Yes, as the Monetary Board of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas has approved our policy that we direct the BSP supervised institutions to take down and remove all icons and links redirecting to online gambling sites.
It's a temporary measure, sir, para po kahit pa paano may magawa na tayo.
Let me interrupt Senator Marcoleta. Let us allow the agencies to present their opening statement first before taking any questions kasi hindi po tayo matatapos pag magiging question and answer. We'll just give you the opportunity, Senator Marcoleta, to ask to deliver your opening statement. We can come back and we will be allowing every senators here to ask questions later para lahat po ng resource persons natin ma-accommodate po natin. Thank you, Senator Marcoleta. Thank you. Anyway, may now request the committee secretary to acknowledge our resource persons. Committee secretary, go ahead, please.
Mr. Chair, I believe Senator Bongo is online.
He is online, but he just informed us that he will just give his opening statements later.
I'm sorry, Mr. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. For the record, the committees would like to acknowledge the presence of the following resource persons. From Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, we have the Chairman and Executive Officer, Mr. Alejandro Tenco, together with Attorney Jessa Maris Fernandez, Attorney Jason Alba, and Attorney Jeremy Loglog. The Department of Finance is represented by Undersecretary Carlo Fermin Adriano. And from the BIR, we have Attorney Albert John Neil Tibayan. From the National Tax Research Center, we have Mr. Donaldo Embu. We have Secretary of the Department of Information and Communications Technology, Secretary Henry Aguda. And from the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center, we have the Assistant Secretary Aboy Paraiso. From the National Telecommunications, we have the Commissioner Ella Blanca B. Lopez. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is represented by Attorney Ruel M. Bumatay, Director of Financial System Integrity Department. And from the Philippine National Police, we have from the Anti-Cybercrime Group, Police Brigadier General Bernard Ariang, Police Lieutenant Colonel J.B. Bayani, Police Lieutenant Colonel Anacleto Daliba. From the Directorate for Investigation and the Detective Management, we have Police Lieutenant Cleo Nobleza. From the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group of PNP, we have Police Lieutenant Colonel Gerald G. Prieto. From the National Bureau of National Bureau of Investigation, we have Assistant Regional Director Ferdinand Lavin. From the Securities and Exchange Commission, we have Attorney Andrew Montesa, Attorney Abigail Shikina Vitria. And we also have the Chairperson of Bridges of Hope, Mr. John T. And we have the relatives of the 26-year-old victim from Bukidnon. We have the mother, Mrs. Arsenia Concha, the cousin, Mr. Antonio B. Concha, together with the Mayor Jimboy Angrabanes of Kibawi, Bukidnon. Okay. And from Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, we have the Deputy Governor, Mr. Mamerto Tangonan. Good morning. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Committee Secretary. Since this is an inquiry of in aid of legislation, we're bound by the rules and of procedures governing inquiries in aid of legislation. In accordance with these rules, may I also request the Committee Secretary to administer the oath to all our resource persons.
May I request all the resource person to please stand up, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, please state your name, do solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to this committee. Thank you. Please take your seat.
Maraming salamat po, Committee Secretary, at sa ating mga panauhin. Ito po ang flow ng ating public hearing at inquiry. Mag-represent po ang ating resource person na hindi po lalagpas sa 5 or pinaka-maximum na siguro ay 8 minuto. Pagbibigyan ho namin kayo mag-present. Sa aking mga kasamahan, patapusin po muna natin ang presentation ng ating mga resource persons bago po tayo magtanong. And kung maaari po ay 3 katanungan lang din po ang pwede po natin itanong para we can accommodate everybody today. Doon po sa resource persons natin, pag tinanong po kayo, please go direct to the point, concise and brief. Make it concise and brief your answers para mapagbigyan po lahat. Thank you everyone for attending the first public hearing of the Senate Committee on Games and Amusement, this 20th Congress. Before that, we would like to welcome Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. Para po sa kaayusan ng ating talakayan and the indulgence of my fellow senators, we will proceed as follows. First, we will allow the presentation from PAGCOR and the Department of Finance. Next, we will give the floor to the other concerned agencies. Or before that, after PAGCOR and DOF will make the presentation, or after each agency making the presentation, pwede po magtanong mga senador for clarification. Kung maaari po ay 2 to 3 questions lang po pwede itanong po natin mga senador, and PAGCOR, please limit your answers, direct and concise po para mabilis tayo. Next, we will give the floor to the other concerned agencies. Then we will hear the positions of the private individuals and or representatives from the private sector. Finally, yun lamang po. So let us refrain from veering away from the subject matter. Both po sa ating mga kasamahan at maging po sa ating mga resource person, para we can maintain at ang kaayusan, and we aim for clarity, honesty, and accountability in today's discussion. For our resource persons, kindly limit nga po your presentation. Again, maximum na ho siguro 8 minutes. Pero kung pwede pong iklian ho ninyo, ay iklian po dahil marami po tayo ngayong araw. So we can have ample time for discussion. Let's start now with PAGCOR. Mr. Altenco, you may proceed with your presentation.
Maraming salamat po, Chairman Senator Erwin Tulfo. Magprepresenta lang po ng overview ng online gaming sa Pilipinas sa pangkasalukuyan si Attorney Jessa Fernandez sa pahintulot niyo po.
Go ahead po.
Good morning, everyone. So my presentation, as mentioned, is a brief overview of online gaming under the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation. First slide, please. Nakapaloob sa tinatawag na online gaming ang mga sumusunod na game offerings. Una, ang electronic casino games. Dito po nakapaloob yung mga tinatawag na slot machine games at live casino games gaya ng roulette, baccarat, blackjack at iba pa. Nakapaloob din po dito ang traditional bingo games, electronic bingo, numeric games, specialty games o mga larong perya gaya ng color game, pula-puti. Nandito rin po ang online poker games at sports betting. Sa 7 ito, pinakamarami ang manlalaro sa kategorya ng e-casino o e-casino games or e-games. Next slide po. Kumikita ang pamahalaan sa pamamagitan ng mga buwis na kinukuha sa gross gaming revenue ng mga lisensyadong kumpanya. Ang gross gaming revenue ay nakocompute sa pamamagitan ng pagbawas ng mga payouts o panalo mula sa kabuuang bets. Mula sa gross gaming revenue, 30% ang license fees na sinisingil ng PAGCOR mula sa mga operators, bukod pa sa 5% franchise tax na diretsyong nireremit ng mga operators sa Bureau of Internal Revenue. Sa kasalukuyan, tayo ang isa sa mga bansa na may pinakamataas na kabuuang tax rate mula sa online gaming. Next slide. Ayon sa datos sa buwan ng Hunyo 2025, ang industriya ay nag-eempleyo ng 32,302 employees. 103 ang foreign nationals, 32,199 naman ay mga Pilipino. Next slide. Bukod pa sa 32,000 directly employed by the licensees, marami pang industriya ang lumago mula sa online gaming. Next slide. Ayon din sa datos sa buwan ng Hunyo 2025, ang mga licensees ay umuokupa ng 121 square meters of office 121,100 square meters of office spaces. Next po. Sa slide na to, makikita po natin ang datos ng license fees na nasingil ng PAGCOR mula sa online gaming mula 2021 hanggang 2024 at ang halagang tinatayang kitain ng pamahalaan sa taong 2025. Next slide. Sa slide na to, makikita natin kung ilang porsyento na ba ng kinikita mula sa online gaming kumpara sa ibang PAGCOR revenue sources gaya ng Casino Filipino Operations, Integrated Resorts at iba pa. Mula 2021 hanggang sa kasalukuyan ay lumaki ang porsyento ng income na nagmula sa online gaming. Noong 2021, wala pang 20% sa kabuuang kita ng PAGCOR ang nagmumula sa online gaming, ngunit sa unang 6 na buwan ng 2025 ay nasa 60%, halos 60% na ito ng kabuuang kita ng PAGCOR. Next slide po. Ang kinikita ng PAGCOR ay napupunta sa mga sumusunod alinsunod sa mga batas. Matapos ibawas ang 5% franchise tax, ang 50% government share ay diretsyong nireremit naman sa National Treasury. Mula sa government share na ito, nagkakaloob ang PAGCOR ng 5 milyon kada buwan sa Dangerous Drugs Board at alinsunod sa Universal Healthcare Act. 50% ng government share na ito ay nakalaan para mapabuti ang benefit packages ng PhilHealth. Kinukuha rin sa kita ng PAGCOR ang 5% para sa Philippine Sports Commission, 1% sa Board of Claims, 1.5% para sa Renewable Energy Trust Fund. Nagbibigay din ng PAGCOR ng sports incentives para sa mga atleta na nananalo sa international competitions, ganoon din sa kanilang coaches at training staff. Naglalaan din ng PAGCOR ng pondo para sa mga corporate social responsibility projects na tinatayo sa iba't ibang bansa. Bukod pa ito, na 75% ng income ng PAGCOR ay nireremit bilang dividend. Net income ng PAGCOR ay nireremit bilang dividends alinsunod sa RA 7656 or Dividends Law. Sa mga nabanggit na mandated contributions at CSR projects na makikita sa next slide, 51.30% or 34.99 billion ang nagmula sa income ng online gaming sa taong 2024. At 61.96% or 23.61 billion naman ang nagmula sa online gaming para sa unang 6 na buwan ng 2025. Next slide. Kung ihihiwalay naman natin ang kontribusyon ng online gaming para sa layunin sa ilalim ng Universal Healthcare Act, 50.03% or 11.57 billion ang nagmula sa online gaming sa taong 2024. Pakipindot po. Sa kabilang banda, 59.92% or 7.59 billion naman ang nagmula sa online gaming para sa unang 6 na buwan ng 2025. At lahat po yon ay para sa tulong natin sa PhilHealth. Next slide po.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, can I just make a point of information? Very short.
Go ahead po.
Sentence. For the record, PhilHealth has stated they have not received that. For the record lang. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.